have?
Washington football team announces that they're benching starting quarterback Dwayne Haskins. Kyle Allen will be the starter this week. Allen played in Carolina last year for Ron Rivera, who's now Washington's head coach, and Scott Turner, who's now their offensive coordinator. Interesting aspect of this is that the number 2 quarterback on the depth chart is now Alex Smith, who's still recovering from that horrendous injury from a couple of years ago. So if something were to happen to Allen during the game, it looks like Alex Smith would get a chance to play.
And so Haskins falls all the way to 3 on the depth chart then, if I'm understanding you correctly. Let me bring in my group. Actually, earlier in this show, Desmond Howard, I asked you, do you believe this was the move to make in Washington? And you said yes, and now they do. Look, you and I both watched Dwayne Haskins play every game he played in college. We're both Big Ten guys. He had the best seasons, at least statistically, that any Big Ten quarterback ever had. Where do you think it has gone sideways for him in Washington, and do you think he can resurrect his career? He was a first-round pick just a year and a half ago.
Well, Greeny, you hit it on the head because he has talent. We've seen the talent at the collegiate level, so I do think he can resurrect his career. I think he just needs to reevaluate his situation, change his attitude, make sure he becomes what you call a consummate professional, really study the game and understand what the defenses are trying to do against him. I think in college, Ryan Day was such a brilliant play caller, Greeny, that the game came easy to him. Don't forget, he threw bubble screens, he threw a lot of crossing routes, a lot of shallow routes and intermediate routes. Now the game is a little more complicated, a little more difficult. I think he can catch up to the speed of the game, but he has to reinvest himself into his profession, his craft, and make sure that he's guided and he's focused on what he wants to accomplish. There's no doubt about it. He has the arm talent to get it done, Greeny.
Yeah, no doubt. Sorry, Desmond. I agree with that completely. D. Wood, what's your reaction here?
I want to make sure I got this correct. We're talking about a guy who hasn't even started a full season in the NFL. I mean, think about that. He hasn't started a full season in the NFL. He gets drafted with Jay Gruden, who was already in the hot seat. Jay Gruden gets fired. Now you go with Ron Rivera, he didn't draft him. He doesn't hold anything. They have nothing as far as relationship, as far as coach quarterback is concerned. Now he gets the hook after, 3 games or whatever it is? I just think that there's just not enough time. How can you really evaluate a guy, his career, after this short period of time? It just doesn't make any sense to me.
I hear you. And I don't know that necessarily the book has to be written on his career. Maybe sitting down for a little while is what he needs. But I think your larger point is the right one, that more young quarterbacks are destroyed in the NFL than are developed. And that clearly, he was drafted into a terrible situation last year with a tug of war between ownership and the coaching staff. This is a guy who everyone said coming out of college, he only played 12 college games. He needed more time. So maybe this actually in the long run will be the best thing for him. One way or another, that's a quarterback at the beginning of his career. Let's talk about some at the opposite ends of their career. The old quarterbacks are playing great. Start with Russell Wilson. He's not that old. Maybe this is the year he finally gets some MVP love. He ranks 4th in total QBR, leads the league with 16 touchdowns and in completion percentage. Tom Brady, he is old. He's 43. He threw 3 touchdowns and 3 picks in the first 2 games of the season. Since then, he's bounced back with 8 touchdowns, just the 1 pick, including 5 touchdowns this past week and a big come-from-behind win. And, of course, Aaron Rodgers, perhaps the best of them all so far. He has 13 touchdowns to 0 picks, leads the league in total QBR. His 92.8 QBR actually the highest by any player through 4 games in the last 15 seasons. So, Dominique, I'm coming to you. If I told you that you have to bet your palatial estate there in our nation's capital on one of these veteran quarterbacks making a run to the Super Bowl this year, which one you got?
Man, I got to be Aaron Rodgers. If I have to bet the estate, which also means that I'm betting my marriage, which is very important to me, if I lose this house, I'm losing everything. I would absolutely go with Aaron Rodgers. I think that defense hasn't been playing as well as I think it could, but they have playmakers around, and Aaron Rodgers, I think, is going to keep you in every game. And as we talked about earlier, Matt LaFleur is scheming up some perfect plays to make sure Aaron Rodgers has some easy plays to combine with the impossible plays that he makes going forward. So I trust Aaron Rodgers and that Packers team in that situation more than I do any of the others.
Graziano, Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, who you got?
I'm a Russell Wilson guy here. I mean, I just think he's an assassin. I think he's underrated in terms of these conversations. You just called him an old quarterback. He's 31, man. I mean, I don't know how he's lumped in with these other guys. He's got a lot more years to go. Right now, leading the league in yards per attempt and completion percentage. I mean, so he's not, he's completing all his passes, but he's not dinking and dunking either. Russell's my guy. I got to stick with him.
No argument there. Now, can I just lodge a quick complaint? You might have noticed that screen, it didn't populate, it didn't put up there that you picked Russell Wilson. That is because I'm being told that when our producing staff asked you this question earlier, you gave them Aaron Rodgers. So did you switch your pick for some reason?
Last night I sent in and said Russell Wilson.
Well, we're going to have to go to the notes.
Like an exclamation point.
That note is going to have to be forwarded to me. Otherwise, you know what? A sternly worded letter and the possibility of a reprimand could be in the offing.
It may be my mistake. There's been a lot going on this morning. I don't know, but I'm Russell Wilson.
Let's go to Desmond Howard next. Which of these three quarterbacks do you bet your house is going to the Super Bowl this year?
I would bet Russell Wilson. I agree with Graziano. I think that Russell Wilson has all the weapons around him. He has a stable of workhorses behind him at the running back position, Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf. But, guys, I'm really impressed defensively. I think that's what will get him over the hump. When you have a Bobby Wagner in the middle, and then you get a Jamal Adams, two enforcers, two alpha male dogs who are sitting in that middle of the defense, I think that's why I would pick him over the other two quarterbacks in the Seahawks. So I go with Russell Wilson.
D. Wood, who you got?
Greeny, I've been flip-flopping all morning, so my screen may be blank as well. I think I went Tom Brady. I think I went Tom Brady.
You don't know.
We'll find out.
Oh, you picked Russell. Have it on a piece of paper.
We got to do this whole thing again.
Can we tape this next time? Can we pre-tape these picks next time? I've got it right here. Graziano takes Rodgers. Dez takes Wilson. Neek takes Brady. And Woody takes Wilson. This isn't that complicated.
So much going on.
Hey, Greeny, that's what you get for asking a hard question like that. You're asking to pick from all these good quarterbacks, and you got guys flip-flopping.
I got a confession to make. I just texted Staloff 10 minutes ago.